Is it too late to start over at 62? Well, I found my answer in the Philippines, a toilet. And above it, a red circle with a line through it, the international symbol for don't do this. What appeared to me to be 3 Oreo cookies and a small carton of milk. Now, I've been in a lot of bathrooms in my life, as I'm sure you have, but I have never, not once, needed a sign to tell me not to throw Oreo cookies down the toilet. But there I was, 62 years old, province Samar, Philippines, Father's Day, standing in the bathroom with a cookie diagram. I thought to myself, yeah, this is exactly right. This is what the second chapter of life is supposed to be about. Hey, real quickly, if you're new here, my name is Jerome Fisher. That's what my mother named me. My friends call me Fish, and you can do so as well. And I haven't mentioned a lot of times, but the members, channel members, I never say, hey, become a channel member, but a few of you have found it, and I want to say thank you very much for becoming a member of the channel. It means a lot to me. I appreciate it. Now, I want to tell you about Father's Day, not the highlight reel version, not the Instagram version, the actual version. And I'm sorry, I'm filming this on my iPhone, so I never know exactly where to look for the camera. It drives me crazy. I don't know, maybe you're a guy back in America, 50 to 55, maybe 60, maybe older, thinking there has got to be more to life than this. I just want you to understand what something more may actually look like. But this is what it actually looks like when you're standing outside a birthing clinic in the Philippines on Father's Day, waiting for a midwife's college kids to help bring your child into the world. It's really like nothing you could ever imagine, and it's totally better than probably anything you could imagine. Let me paint this picture for you of this place. This was not a hospital. I want you to be very clear about that. If you've spent your entire life in America, your entire frame of reference for where a baby gets born involves a building with automatic doors, a parking garage, gift shop, vending machine, and of course, at least 3 different people who ask you for your insurance card before anyone ever checks on the actual human being in labor. This was none of those things. It was a small clinic run by a midwife who's probably delivered more babies than your local OBGYN. She had a fraction of the equipment, 0 drama. Her assistants, 2 college-age children, her son and her daughter that attend the university over in Tacloban on Leyte. They were calm, they were warm, they were competent, smiling. They were really enjoyable to be around. They clearly had done this enough times that the only visible anxiety in the room was probably emanating from me. There's also a woman that lived there at the facility, and she's the caretaker. She knew everything, where everything was. She knew what needed to happen, and kind of like moved through the space like someone who'd been making order out of chaos her entire life there. All of them. Every single one of them were kind, attentive, genuinely happy to be there. Excuse me. Nobody was watching the clock. Nobody was processing paperwork. Nobody was performing care. They were just caring. For a while, I sat outside, watched the neighborhood kids, the roosters. Yes, there's roosters along the streets, even in the neighborhoods. A dog that had clearly decided that corner of Samar was his, and you shouldn't be messing with it. It's just the kind of life that keeps moving, whether you're having a life-changing moment or not. The world doesn't stop. It just never does. And while I was sitting there, I thought about my father. My dad's name was Joe. He joined the Marine Corps when he was 17 years old, retired a sergeant major, did 4 tours in Vietnam. I used to joke with him all the time, saying that must have been a lot easier to deal with the NVA than raising children. But of course, he knew I was not serious, but he didn't entirely disagree with that assessment. My grandfather, his father-in-law, once told me that he was the toughest SOB that he had ever met. And that's not a small thing for him to say. He just doesn't hand out compliments like free Halloween candy. This is a man that went through World War II, had his throat slit from ear to ear, survived, came back. So he was a tough man in his right as well. My dad was born in Albany, New York, born to an enlisted man in the Army. His mother was an alcoholic. She left, not gradually, she just left. His dad couldn't raise him alone, so he was sent back to Albany to be raised by his aunt, who he thought his entire life was his mother, because this happened when he was two years old. He was also shaped by a grandmother that showed up for him and a man named Frederick. Not a relative, just a man who decided that this was a kid worth investing in. My father told me many times that Frederick was the most impactful man in his life. Not his parents, just a man who showed up for him. Dad never saw his mother after Florida. In fact, he saw his father once after that for about 30 minutes, and his father didn't even recognize him or know who he was. That man, that kid, handed nothing, got abandoned twice, raised by people who had no obligation to him, became a sergeant major in the United States Marine Corps, 4 tours in Vietnam, a man so composed under pressure that the strongest word my grandfather could come up with was the toughest. I always told him I wish I could be half the man that he was, but he always pushed back on that, and he was proud of me, genuinely, and vocally proud. He loved hearing my work on the air when I was on the radio. He loved that I'd done the one thing that I said I was going to do when I was a kid. I told him, I said, this is what I wanted to do, and he used to compliment me all the time. Out of all of my children, you have said that since you were a young boy, and you actually managed to do what you said you were going to do. Now, don't get me wrong, at the time, when I was young, he thought it was a stupid idea. Music, radio, whatever. Look, he didn't say it to be cruel. He said it because he was a Marine, and Marines, you just don't rely on dreams. But he came around. I mean, he came all the way around. I mean, we weren't always close. Between the years of 11 to 18, my mom had finagled her way in and made us go live with her, and we didn't speak that entire time. We did reunite when I was about 19 years old for a brief time, but we saw some disagreements in life that we could not get over, and so we were estranged once again until I was about 30. After that, a completely different story. And I would tell him and he would tell me, I love you, over and over every single time we talked, every time, without hesitation, without it being weird. You know, he would just say it the way that you say it when you mean it, and you've run out of reasons to not say it, to hold it back. Unfortunately, this last year, he passed away. He gave me the blessings to come to the Philippines. He was a little hesitant at first, but having spent some time here before and speaking with Rhea, and I had his blessing. Not that I needed it. I would have done whatever I wanted to do regardless, but it was nice to have his blessing. So this August, I'm taking a trip to Oahu, and my brother and I are going to spread his ashes off of Makumano, which is an island just north outside of Kaneohe Bay on Oahu, just north of the Kaneohe Marine Base. And we'll remember him and the man that had such an impact on him. His grandson, my son, carries his name. I was sitting outside that clinic on Father's Day when my son was born. No sterile room, no team of specialists, no epidural drama. A midwife who knew exactly what she was doing, her kids assisting her, a caretaker who kept the whole thing moving along, and of course, my wife, who is considerably tougher than I am about most things that truly matter. That's one of the things that attracted me to her. She is a complete badass. You know, and when I held him for the first time, I didn't think about YouTube. I didn't think about subscriber counts or title scores, whether my thumbnail was optimized or anything like that. What I did think about was my father standing out some building at 17, making the decision to become a Marine. And it was all because someone named Frederick had shown him what it looked like to be a man who always shows up. And that definitely made me think what it means to carry that name. And also why he gave that name to me as my middle name, Frederick. Yeah, I don't share that with many people. But it's a great story, a great man, and my son can continue that on now. Also thought that this kid has no idea what he just landed in. He's got a 62-year-old American father. I moved to an island in the Philippines, married a Filipino. He has a Filipino mother who's running circles around both of us. A 2-year-old sister who is always in charge of everything and probably will be until he begins to walk. I don't know where she gets that attitude. And a grandfather's name that comes with a story that he's going to need to be told properly when he's old enough to understand it. That's a lot for a kid to handle on his first day, but I think he can handle it. 4 years, I got on a plane. I made a decision about whether the life that I was living was the life that I wanted to continue to live, or whether there was a version of me that just hadn't shown up yet. Who knew? 62 years old, I have a new son. I'm living in the province in the Philippines on Samar, and I'm standing in a bathroom where it says, "Don't throw Oreo cookies down the toilet." Man, life is funny. Not that I would ever throw Oreo cookies down the toilet. And all of this, definitely not in the plan. I didn't plan to fall in love with this country. I didn't plan to get married here. Certainly didn't plan to have children here. Didn't plan to be here 4 years later, talking into this camera. But this is what I've learned, and I'm telling you directly. And I do that because I think you're probably sitting somewhere right now, and you're wondering if it's too late to make this move. It is not too late. My father built his entire life out of nothing, abandoned, sent away, raised by people who had no obligation to him. And he became the man that my grandfather couldn't find a stronger word than tougher for. He didn't wait for the right conditions, because there are no right conditions. He just made something of what was in front of him. Now, I'm not saying move to the Philippines. Maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. All I'm just saying is the second chapter doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't care whether you planned for it. It doesn't care whether the bathroom sign will make sense to you. It just asks if you're willing to show up. My son is named after a man who showed up every single time. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be just that. If you've already subscribed to the channel, thanks very much. I totally appreciate it. If you haven't, please, if you like the stuff, I'd love for you to do that. Oh, I can't forget to slap a like. Share it, turn the notification bell on, all that good stuff. It really helps the channel out a lot. I appreciate it. Be excellent to each other. And remember, this was never about the Philippines. It's how you show up when you get here. Thanks a lot. We'll see you in the next video.